The meeting will come to order, please. Please join me in the Pledge to Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Members of the public are invited to address the authority regarding any item that's not on the agenda. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak tonight? Apparently not. That's a subsequent item. Okay, the next item is the one we've all been waiting for, election of chair and vice chair for 2018. In accordance with Administrative Code Section 104.1, appointment of chair and vice chair, the board at its first meeting and annually thereafter, to be effective as of the first regular February board meeting of each year and at other time as there may be a vacancy, shall elect a chair who shall preside at all meetings and a vice chair who shall preside in his absence or her absence.
Thank you, Tom.
The position of the chair shall be rotated annually and no person shall serve consecutive terms as chair. As per current rotation, Vice Chair Glover, representing the county, would be next in line for the chair seat. Do I have a motion in favor of appointing Commissioner Glover as CCTA chair from February 2018 through February 2019?
Yes, Mr. Butt, you do have a motion. My colleagues on the Board of Supervisors and I are very happy to nominate Supervisor Federal Glover to serve as chair this year. And I'm sure Mr. Hudson,
Okay.
You want to second that?
Oh, if you need one, yeah.
Okay, and we have a second. It's nice to see legislative bodies that support each other, you know. I'd love,
Collegial Board of Supervisors.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Very much.
I'd love to participate in something like that sometime. Okay.
Get out.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Congratulations, Chair Glover. Yeah, I guess so. I get one more thing here. Okay. As per current rotation, Transpac representative Commissioner Robert Taylor would be next. It says Transpac.
No,
That's wrong.
Yeah, it was a test.
We'll take it.
Thank you. I'd rather go on the Transpac, right? Okay, we'll be next in rotation for the vice chair seat. Do I have a motion in favor of appointing Commissioner Robert Taylor as CCTA vice chair from February 2018 through February 2019?
Yes, you do. I will make that motion to appoint Bob.
Okay, that's a motion, and a second. All in favor?
Let's discuss this.
Any opposed?
No.
Any abstentions? Okay, there we go. Now you're in charge.
Tom, I just want to say we were not going to be placing your comments about not getting collegial meetings on in any website that I'm aware of.
That's okay.
Okay, at this time, we will start the meeting. Just a few comments before. I want to thank you all for...
First lesson.
I want to thank you all for this opportunity. I've been waiting 20 years, so we're very honored to be, for the county to be participating in the rotation of the chair. There's a lot that I've seen happen, and I've been very proud of the members that I've served with down through the years and the respect and responsibilities that they've taken on and holding this organization together. So it's what a great joy and an honor to serve as CCTA chair for the coming year, which I think is going to be a very exciting year to come. And I will continue to provide the type of leadership that's been shown here in the past to make sure that all of the things that are worthy of paying attention to, that I will give my utmost attention and be responsible to take us to the next level. So thank you all once again for this honor that I've been bestowed with this evening. Now we're going to give a commendation to the individual who has led this last year. We want to thank past chair, but for all of the great work and leadership that he has provided, the respect that he's led this organization with, the diplomacy that's been displayed, and when he has met the public, he's done it on our behalf with diplomacy and has made the efforts necessary to have the respect for this organization to continue. A lot of great improvements have taken place over this last year, and it's come with the warmth and dedication that he holds for this organization. Tom, we thank you so very much for all of your committed time and dedication to CCTA. We stand proud today because of your leadership.
We also love that southern charm.
Oh, by the flag.
By the flag.
Stage this right, that's right.
Oh, pictures. There you go.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Okay,
Congratulations.
all right.
And you have this to read as well.
Oh.
Okay. And I just want to say, that the loss of power and prestige, I can handle that. I can deal with that. But you know what I'm going to miss most is reviewing Randy's expense reports. I really enjoyed reading them. I know what he likes to eat. I know where he likes to go. I know how much he tips his cab drivers. And that was, it was really great to be, have that intimate look at how Randy lives his life. And the other part I really enjoyed was living vicariously through Randy as I approve his jaunts to exotic places all over the world to talk about transportation and autonomous vehicles and that kind of thing. I couldn't go myself, but I lived it through him. I was able to live the dream through the trips Randy was taking. So that's what I'm really going to miss. So thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure to serve you, and you're in good hands with Federal.
Mr. Chair?
Thank you, Tom. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dave.
We have a...
Well, no, I wanted to bring to your attention, I don't know if you noticed that Congressman DeSonia is in the audience.
Well,
Now we're in trouble.
all right. Let's give a hand to Congressman. Ask him to come forward.
And while he comes forward, could I ask whether Randy has any rebuttal?
I honestly was just walking by. I'm supposed to be in Ethiopia right now, but they have some government turmoil. So I was over at the Club Sport, and I was walking back to the district office. I said, "Oh, there must be a government agency." And little did I know that you would be congratulating one of the great public servants of our area. So. How do you like that? I just came in. Reminds me when I was on the board. I don't think we got a per diem those days. I'm sure you don't
Yes,
know.
we always do.
I don't remember. Well, continue your wonderful work. Mr. Keller, you're included in that comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman, for...
As a taxpayer, do something about this traffic.
And as a congressman, help us. Let me just say, Mark, it is an honor to have you here tonight because this is a historical moment where a county supervisor is now chair of CCTA. So we want to thank you for your service on this committee for a number of years, and certainly appreciated the work that you've done and the leadership that you provided out through the years. So
I think we should,
commissioners?
in all fairness, I think we should point out that was something the congressman couldn't achieve.
He laid the groundwork, is what he wants to say. He laid the groundwork.
Welcome to a rough crowd. Okay, is there any comments from board members? Okay. I do want to read this letter of accommodation that dedicated for your service to the authority as chair from February 2017 through February 2018. Tom Butt led the authority with enthusiasm, respect, and diplomacy, and contribute to a noteworthy year, which includes numerous projects, groundbreakings, ribbon cuttings, events, including the El Cerrito and North Doherty Belt Station improvement, the path to transit. Projects as part of the Hercules and the Mosul Station, the Altima Road Bridge in Richmond, and the completion of the Richmond Parkway, Lights Phase 2, and the I-80 San Pablo Road Dam Phase 1. Additionally, under Chair's Butt leadership, the authority implemented electronic bidding and construction contracts, won the International Partnership Institute Partnering Campaign Award, and launched the Easy Mile pilot project at Bishop Rat. With this leadership, we want to once again compliment you for the delivery to Contra Costa County, all these programs and projects. In appreciation for, on this day, February 21st, 2018.
Okay, thanks again.
Okay, so now we will get down to some business here. First off, public comments on issues that fall on a preview of this board, but is not on tonight's agenda. We do have, nope, that's, no speaker cards, no members coming forward. We will move on to the consent calendar.
Committee assignments. Committee assignments first.
Oh. There we go. Okay. So, the committee assignments, I shall be appointing for each of the standing committees, the planning committees, the administration and project committees. So with that, we will go up into the committee assignments. Current members appointed to the administration and project committees are Commissioner Taylor, Trotter, Butt, Price, and Ulrich.
Thank you.
Okay? The current member appointed to the Planning Commission are Mccullough, Aberson, Hudson, Romit, and currently I, Supervisor Glover, am not assigned to any committees, but we will be serve on each of the committees with the hat of the chair, as the hat of the chair. Could I have a motion for those assignments?
I'll move those assignments. Did you say Haskell? I missed it.
Haskell's on planning, or has been.
Okay.
Hudson?
No, Haskell.
Luella. should be.
I'm planning?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah, I'll move those assignments.
Okay. There's a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, it's done. So next order of business will be the 2018 meeting schedule. I do not have that with me, but is there any objection to the schedule that's been provided?
So moved.
Second.
So there's a motion and a second for the meeting assignments. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next is the approval of the minutes from the authority of January 17th.
Second?
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next item is the consent calendar. So we have a number of items on the consent calendar. Is there any member wishing to pull an item? Executive Director, any items? Members of the public has not turned in any slips, but is there any item that the public wishes to remove? Seeing none,
I will second the motion that Commissioner.
Motion by
made. Motion
Romick,
by Romick.
second by Pierce. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. We will now move to our major discussion items. We have none. Regular meeting items. The Ministration and Project Committee. We have a couple of items for approval. The first is Interstate 80, I-80 southbound, SB High Occupancy Vehicles, HOV, completion and Express Lane Project 8001. This is going to be presented to us by Ivan Ramirez. Welcome.
Thank you, Chairman and members of the board. Good evening. I want to begin by congratulating you, Chairman, for your election after 20 years. And I look forward to serving this board over the upcoming year under your leadership. This is an action item where we're asking the board to approve the plan specification and estimate per Government Code Section 830.6. And that is to have the authority preserve its design immunity. And we're also asking you to authorize the executive director to advertise the project, to issue addendum during the advertisement period, and also to publicly open the bids once they come in. But before I ask you for I'm going to make a couple of comments. Number one is that the project is ready to list, is ready to advertise. We're only waiting for a couple of items. One is the right-of-way certification that is in the works. And in addition to that, there is an action that the California Transportation Commission needs to take at its next meeting of March 21st and 22nd, where they're going to either allow us to approve an advance of an allocation for the project, which we will eventually pay back during the fiscal year 2019-2020. That will be a STIP allocation. Or they will issue an Assembly Bill 3090, in which we'll have a reimbursement agreement to utilize Measure J funds, and subsequent to that, issue reimbursement in the STIP year 2019-2020. The other comment I wanted to make is that when staff came in front of you when we were giving you an update on the project in the fall of last year, it was estimated that we were going to have a lane closure closed for about 10 months, beginning at Rutgear going south. As you know, the project begins at the end of the, where the I-680 and the Richmond, and the Benicio Martinez Bridge, all the way down to where the new completed HOB project is. So we're going to have it's a 12-month closure, but the staff working with the designer and the construction management team during the constructability review, we were able to eliminate that closure. It was estimated to be 20 minutes wait on top of the current conditions during construction, and we were able to eliminate that. I just wanted to share those good news with you. So with that, I am open to any questions regarding this action item.
Okay, any questions?
I'd just like to actually make a comment. I just really want to thank Ivan, because at the APC we had talked about looking at, since we're going out and AAAing our own projects, and we had some experience in this, is what kind of peer review are we doing over our consultants' documentation to know that when this goes out to bid. And it's great on how staff and Ivan has taken the lead to kind of reorganize that process, make sure that the construction management team comes in early to review those drawings and try to head out and feedback to our consultants. So I'd be pleased to move this and really want to thank staff for always trying to figure out how to improve on what we're doing, and I think we're going to be very successful in this project.
Second.
So there's a motion and a second. Any comments? Any other comments before?
Thank you, staff. Woo-hoo.
All right.
That's a big deal.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, it passes. Thank you, Ivan. So the next item on our agenda is 4A10. It's authorization to execute Amendment Number 5 to Amendment Number 376, which HR Engineering Incorp. HDR for the final design service. This is going to be presented to us by Susan Miller.
Yes.
Welcome.
Good evening. Good evening, Chair Glover and Commissioner. Susan Miller, Director of Projects, and I too would like to congratulate you, Chair Glover. I guess it's been a long time in coming, and we've worked on many, many projects together, so I'm excited to see that continue through this next year.
Thank you.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
The authority entered into a contract with HDR in late 2013 to prepare the project development and environmental documents for the I-680 southbound express lane project, which, as Ivan indicated, goes from the bridge all the way down to meet up the vicinity of Ruggier with the project that is now opened. In 2016, we amended their contract to include final design services for not just the express lane portion, but also for the I-680 southbound, what we call the gap completion project, which completes the carpool segment through the 24 interchange. It made a lot of sense to combine those two designs together. That project had been previously cleared under a separate environmental document, so we wanted to combine that for design and then for construction, so then we could open the facility as a managed lane and have a continuous southbound lane throughout Contra Costa County on I-680. As Ivan reported, we've concluded a very significant milestone. Getting ready to list is a huge effort, and we are now working on securing that funding. The good news is it looks promising that we will be able to get an advance for our STIP funds, so we won't have to do the 3090 process to front our funding. That's how it's looking at this point in time, so we'll see how that plays out in March at the CTC meeting. We're also working on obtaining the encroachment permit, so those are the two things that we're currently working on. So the HDR team worked very hard to get us to this point, and we're now requesting an amendment to their contract for several reasons. We had to deal with a larger than anticipated effort to finalize comments that we received from Caltrans, both at the 95 and the 100% submittals. And some of those comments, even at 100% submittal, were new comments that we had not previously dealt with, so we had to go through quite an effort to get those all dealt with and finalize the design. Additionally, we did add some new scope to their contract. They prepared a separate tree removal bid package, which we went forward, and Ivan and his team got that accomplished in only 1 month in December. And in advance of that, we wanted to hold a public meeting or neighborhood meeting in Walnut Creek and Alamo, those areas that were going to be affected, most affected visually with the tree removal, and also to give them some advance notification for the upcoming construction project. So we did add those items to the HDR contract. This amendment also includes enough budget to get us through the bid process and to also start a conceptual replanting plan for some more outreach that we'll have later in the spring to that community. We promised we would return with conceptual plans for landscaping, and they would be able to have input into the design along, of course, with Caltrans and the City of Walnut Creek on what we intended to do as far as replacement of trees and shrubs and things that have been removed. So we have enough budget included in this amendment to be able to do that. At that point in time where we actually award the contract, we typically will close the design contract and then enter into a new design services during construction. So that'll be the step that we'll do later on this summer. So therefore, staff seeks authorization for the chair to execute amendment number 5 to agreement number 376 with HDR in the amount of $750,000. This amount includes $200,000 in extra work contingency for a new total agreement value of $12,470,000. And I do have Sheena Patel, who's been the lead project engineer, is in the audience. She's with HDR. Sheena, I'd like you to stand. I really want to thank her. She's put forth a tremendous effort and is part of the reason why we're here tonight and being able to do this. So with that, we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Susan, and you continue to do a tremendous job for this agency, and I want to acknowledge that we have worked on a number of projects over the years, and like I say, they just keep getting better. So, any comments from commissioners? Is there a motion? Oh, Mr. Arnerich?
Do you think anything that went wrong with this project that we can blame Ross Chittenden for? Ross is in the room. I'm sorry, I didn't see you, Ross.
He's right behind you, Susan, don't worry.
Any problems we're blaming on Ross. Welcome back, Ross. By the way, there's a seat right over here. This one's empty if you want to. Yeah, this is Old Home Week. So part of what you were referencing were some of our other public agency, and Caltrans, our favorite one. In Danville, we had a project that Caltrans kept changing their mind so much, the actual design fees cost more than the project. There was a significant increase of this change which is really about $530,000. How much is that attributed to that, and how much of this is attributed to doing the tree removal bid package? I didn't see any details on that.
Yeah, I'd say, dealing with the final comments, it's probably a little over half would be dealing with finalizing the package and dealing with remaining comments.
Okay. And then what was the value of the tree removal, the actual construction cost, approximately?
I know the bids came in low. We were
Yeah,
happy about
so
that.
I would say total is just under 600,000
Yeah.
Okay.
completion, because we completed the work just recently, a couple of weeks ago, and we're closing out that project.
Okay. And just so, being in the design business, that's 30% design fee against that type of project. That's not kind of in the realm of what we'd normally see? Was there some extenuating circumstances that made it that high?
Well, again, we added environmental clearance so it was not just design. So we had environmental clearance that we had to obtain for the express lane portion because that had not been previously cleared.
Okay.
So it's got some extra things in it that wouldn't be your standard normal contract.
With that, I'd be glad. Thank you. I'd make the motion to approve.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it passes. Thanks again for the fine work. And I also want to acknowledge the president of Ross. Good to see you.
Come up to the mic.
Okay, next item on the agenda is 4A11. This is State Route 4, Mccullough Hugh Bike Trail and Pedestrian Crossover Project. And this is going to be presented to us by Stephanie.
Hi, good
Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Stephanie Hugh from the Authority staff. This is an action item. We're seeking your approval this evening for 2 items under Agenda Item 4A.11 for the Mccullough Bicycle Pedestrian Overcrossing Project. The project proposes to construct a bicycle pedestrian bridge that spans over Highway 4 in Brentwood, bridging a gap that is on the existing Mccullough Trail. The gap was created when the Highway 4 bypass was constructed. The overcrossing was always a planned component of the Highway 4 bypass project. As we're seeking your approval this evening, we would like to give you a quick update since the project was on hold in 2014 because we had a funding shortfall after we completed 65% design. Since then, the City of Brentwood has embarked on a specific plan effort to identify the area directly adjacent to the overcrossing location called Priority Area 1. The specific plan identifies the area adjacent to the overcrossing as the future Brentwood Transit Center. The future transit center will include a bus transit facility served by Tri-Delta Transit. The proposed trail overcrossing will be essential in providing bicyclists and pedestrians safe access to the future transit center. BART has been participating in a specific plan effort. They support the advancement of the transit center under the condition that the Mccullough Trail overcrossing is constructed. To support the overcrossing project, BART has agreed to be a funding partner, contributing $200,000 to help fund the overcrossing design. This brings us to Agenda Item 4A11.1, which seeks authorization for the Chair to execute Cooperative Agreement 05E.14 with BART. The co-op memorializes the roles and responsibilities of the funding partnership. BART Board approved the execution of this agreement at their meeting in January. This $200,000 contribution from BART, along with the $150,000 that was reprogrammed to the overcrossing project through the Measure J Strategic Plan Amendment approved last October, gives us a total of $350,000 needed to resume and complete the design for the overcrossing. Agenda Item 4A11.2 is a contract amendment to add this $350,000 to Agreement Number 358 with Mark Thomas for final design services for the overcrossing. The amendment also extends the termination date from June 30th, 2018 to June 30th, 2019. The additional budget will help us complete the design, which includes design modification to not preclude any future transit center elements. And also it will include a high-level conceptual layout of the transit center. Completing the design will help us make the project shovel-ready to hopefully better compete for construction dollars in the future. It is estimated that the construction will cost $8 million. In addition to BART, the East Contra Costa Regional Fee and Financing Authority, or ACRAFA, is also supporting the project financially by doing the right-of-way support services. In summary, Agenda Item 4A11.1 seeks authorization for the Chair to execute Cooperative Agreement 05E.14 with BART for the funding partnership in the amount of $200,000. And Agenda Number 4A11.2 seeks authorization for the Chair to execute Amendment Number 1 to Agreement Number 358 with Mark Thomas for design services in a total agreement value of $872,000. The amendment also extends the contract for to June 30th, 2019. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. So those 2 items were 4A11 and also 4A11.2. So there's comments. Bob Taylor?
Yeah, well, I'd like to make the motion for this, but before I do so, I'd like to make some comments. Or do you want public comments first?
No, make your comment.
Well, first of all, I was going to thank the man who's getting up here to make public comments. Bruce, we've been together a long time, and this is a good night for us. I've been working on this forever, and there's so many people to thank. I want to thank Joel Keller right here beside me on BART. Thank this board. Oakley's been beside us the whole way. So this is another asset to East County and the Transit Center and Tri-Delta have to thank everyone involved with that. And obviously our executive director who kind of, you're smiling, but you helped us put it all together. I think we had the parts, but to get them all together, we have to thank you. So with that, I make a motion to approve this.
There's a motion by Taylor, second by Unrich. And
Chair, do we have public comment?
yes, we do.
Okay.
And I will take those before we take a vote. But Joe?
You want me to wait for Ollie, or I'm happy?
Yeah,
to do,
why don't we do?
I'm happy to do so. After Ollie speaks, I'll.
Mr. Olson. And I know you've been long in the waiting list.
You can say that again, long time. Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Bruce Olson. My friends call me Ole. I'm representing the Delta Peddlers Bicycle Club tonight. We're based in Brentwood, but we serve all of East Contra Costa County. And allow me, as my first official statement here, to say congratulations to you, fellow Pittsburgher. I rode my bicycle to this meeting tonight from Pittsburgh. It was 17 miles. The only tough section was the freeway, Highway 4, 8 lanes going through the former Concord Naval Weapons Station. But everybody's working on that project too, and I don't want to get greedy tonight. The Delta Peddlers fully supports this project, and we wish to thank Bart, the CCTA, Brentwood, Mayor Bob, everybody here for voting yes. Keep the project going. It's been a long time coming, and the Highway 4 Bypass Authority dropped the ball back in 2002 when the chair at that time said something to the effect, I cannot see my way clear to spend motorist money on bicyclist amenities. Something to that effect. It's been, 16, 17 years since that statement got made. Thanks for picking up the pieces. You guys are doing great.
Thank you, Ole. And again, congratulations to those folks that sit on the Fee and Finance Authority for a number of years and those who have served transplant, because it was something that, once again, when we talk about our county being a self-help county, that district has certainly been a self-help district when it has come to most of the projects that's been established. The Fee and Finance Authority has been right there to contribute to the various projects. So it is a great night for the East County region, and I want to thank those folks that I've been serving beside for 24 years. So with that, we have a motion. Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to join and thank everyone who participated, Stephanie, Tim, Randy, the BART staff. This was an effort of love, because I think reconnecting the Mccullough Trail, like sections of the Iron Horse Trail, where you have gaps, you lose the full value of the assets. So this is an incredibly important evening for both the East County region. Hopefully people who live in Central County will now find it attractive to go out to Round Valley in Far East County. It's a nice bike ride. So, and the importance for transportation agents, the reason we're participating is often when you put in transportation, particularly new transportation projects, there are gaps because nobody can fund everything in every project. And those gaps, even though they're minuscule compared to the overall project, can linger for years and create access problems that go on and on. It's not only in Contra Costa County, but from throughout the region. So this is being proactive in advance and looking at a way to connect Brentwood to the transfer center. About half of Brentwood wouldn't have access by bicycle or be able to walk if this bridge isn't built. They have to drive around in an already congested Lone Tree Way, come around it back into the center. So getting this done in advance or concurrently with the development of the transit center is an incredibly important part of what we're hoping to accomplish here, and I think it'll benefit a whole bunch of people who will be able to use this in the future with great transit from Brentwood.
Thank you, Joe. So we have, Commissioner Trotter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to support this motion, and at the Administration and Projects Committee, I extracted a commitment from Mayor Bob Taylor that he would be the first one to bicycle across the bridge when it opens at the ribbon cutting, and he assured me he would either do that or crawl. So I'm happy to support it on those terms. I did have a quick point of order. Is it appropriate for us to approve both of these items in one motion?
We'd have to have an amendment to the original motion. I believe the first motion was just for.
I didn't read it. I didn't hear it that way. I'm asking whether you can have them both in one motion.
Yes, you can absolutely have them both in one motion.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, let me just clarify the motion. Was that for both items? Okay. Second, is that what you understood? Okay, so it's been motioned by Mayor Taylor, seconded by Commissioner Unrich. All in favor of the motion? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Thank you. And thank you, Stephanie. So the next item on our agenda is connect vehicles to autonomous vehicles program. This authorized the executive cooperative agreement number GMS.001 with the State of California Transportation Authority to receive $3.5 million in state funding for Go Momentum Station. Staff seeks authorization from the chair to execute a cooperative agreement number GMS.001 with the state in the amount of $3.5 million to expand the development of the AV testing at the Go Momentum Station. This will be presented to us by Tim Haley.
Thank you, Chair Glover. Good evening. My name is Tim Hale, Deputy Executive for Projects.
Not on. There we go. Good evening. My name is Tim Hale, the Deputy Executive for Projects, and also wanted to extend my congratulations to Supervisor Glover for your appointment to chair. Looking forward to working with you and all of the commissioners on our continued success under your leadership. So looking forward to that. And want to present this item to you, the state funding for Momentum Station program. The authority was appropriated $3.5 million in the 2017 state budget, AB 97, for Momentum Station. These funds were made available to the authority as a grant for use in planning, construction, and operations for autonomous vehicle testing. The grant will be administered by the California State Agency and the Secretary of Transportation. Our redefining mobility goals for Momentum Station were foundational to the grant agreement, focusing on economic growth and job creation in Contra Costa. Through collaboration with the agency and the authority staff, the following vision goals were developed for the grant agreement: create a world-class connected vehicle, autonomous vehicle, testbed, and active industry and government participation, provide public benefits to advance mobility, enhance safety through automation, expand economic development opportunities and job creation in California to advance autonomous vehicle technology, and partner with the public and private sector to enhance safety and mobility and the environment. The grant objectives focus on three major components: minor improvements to infrastructure to support partner demonstrations such as additional traffic control, wireless communication, completion of the SAV demonstration, and also program administration. AB 97 stipulated requirements for this grant: dollar-for-dollar match required with non-state funds. Work plan and expenditures must be for planning, operations, and construction. The allocation request must include work plan, budgets, and be approved by the authority and the agency. Quarterly expenditure must conform to the terms and schedule in the grant agreement. In quarterly reporting, tracking progress of the grant goals and objectives, and the authority shall provide a report to the Secretary of Transportation and Joint Legislative Budget Committee by January 10, 2020, outlining how these funds were spent and the public benefit that was achieved. The funds must be encumbered by June 2020. Local match will be contributed by Momentum Station partners such as Toyota and Honda, and these partners are, so the local match is coming through contributions through Momentum Station. So in other words, a lot of it's being privately funded as local match. Through negotiations with the agency, in-kind services were also included as a match, which is very uncommon with these agreements. The grant was set up with a lot of flexibility to give us either reimbursement or advancement payments. An allocation request will be submitted from Momentum Station to the authority with work plan, budget, schedule, and documentation of the local match. And invoices will be included for reimbursement, allocation requests, and quarterly reporting of the advanced payments. The agency requires all the allocation requests be approved by the authority board prior to submitting to the agency for approval of a payment. The grant agreement outlines the work plan and expenditures. Management and administration includes program management, day-to-day operations of Momentum Station, regulatory approvals and research. The SAV planning includes test plans, procedures, requirements for completion of the shared autonomous vehicle demonstration at Bishop Branch. And then testing facilities, design, and construction includes design and construction of minor roadway improvements, additional traffic control elements, and vehicle to infrastructure wireless communications. The grant funding will be with local match will include a total investment of $7 million into Momentum Station for autonomous vehicle testing. The grant agreement also provides flexibility to modify the terms of the scope and expenditures based on consent and mutually agreed upon by all parties. The grant agreement outlines the years of expenditures for the scope and objectives in the agreement. And staff is in the process of updating the Momentum Station MOU into a master cooperative agreement consistent with the requirements of this grant and also with the roles and responsibilities between CCTA and Momentum Station. Staff is also working with the City of Concord to update the MOU to include commitment of a long-term agreement into the future. And since the grant agreement starts in July of 2017, Momentum Station staff and CCTA staff are preparing a reimbursement request from July 2017 to March 2018 that we plan to bring to the April board. And additionally, we're working on an advanced payment request for upcoming expenditures from April 2018 to June 2018, and we'll also bring that to the authority approval in April. So the requested action this evening is authorization for the chair to execute cooperative agreement number GMS.001 with the state in the amount of $3.5 million to expand the development of autonomous vehicle testing at Momentum Station. And that concludes my presentation, and happy to take any questions.
Thank you for that great presentation. Questions? Commissioner? No? Taylor?
Yeah, I'm on. I'm on, Doug. Okay. I know we asked this at APC, and I really wanted to have it kind of explained, and I think the executive director kind of explained to me how we're going to handle all the financing. So do you want to take it, or do you want Randy to take it?
So the way the grant agreement is written is Momentum Station will submit to CCTA a package with all of the scope of work, the budget, the future expenditures, and also with the proof of local match. And then that package will then be reviewed by staff and then brought to the authority board for approval for an allocation. Once the allocation is approved, the agency will give us a payment, an advance payment or reimbursement. But if we do get an advance payment, the master co-op agreement will actually have the ability, and this will be in a future, we'll discuss this at a future board meeting, but the master cooperative agreement will have the ability for CCTA to work with Momentum Station and audit how the state funding is being spent as we start seeing the progress of the expenditures. And that's where the quarterly reporting comes into play. So there'll be quarterly reporting that will have to be Momentum Station and also CCTA will have to collect and then present that to the agency to remain accountable on how the expenditures are occurring and the progress relative to the allocation request and also to the goals and objectives of the grant agreement.
Commissioner Butt.
What was the proportion of the match?
It's 1-to-1, so
Okay.
it's
So
three.
could you just, maybe I missed it, but just kind of repeat sort of where that match is going to come from? What are the sources of it?
So the local match is a combination of in-kind services and also contribution of non-state funds. So that could be mainly partner contributions at Momentum Station.
What's the rough breakdown between those two?
In terms of in-kind and local match?
Right.
So those will come forward at future board meetings for allocation. So we'll actually present, every single time there's an allocation, we'll present each of the items in terms of in-kind, local match, and then the state funding.
Okay, that's a lot of matching funds, $3.5 million. So.
And we've been working closely with Momentum Station and in terms of that.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
There's a motion and a second to move the staff's recommendation. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, it passes, and congratulations. This is a great effort that's taken place. Next is we have a number of associated committee reports. They're in your packet, so you can review those. Next on the agenda is chair's comments. I want to once again thank my colleagues on the Board of Supervisors who have allowed me to serve on CCTA throughout my time on the board, and in particular, Chair of the Board, Karen Mitchoff, who led the charge here in order to get the board into the rotation. We are very thankful for that and want to also lend our leadership to making Contra Costa continue to be great. So those are my comments. There you go. Great. Okay. Yeah. So our next item is the commissioners' reports on the activities. Commissioner.
What's his name?
What's his name?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Ebar.
I think you all recall that in November of 16, BART put a measure on the ballot to fix the aging system. It passed in San Francisco, Alameda, and Contra Costa County. And so I just wanted to give you a brief update about how that money is being used. There's a handout that's in front of all of you that looks at future projects and what we've done to date. We've approved a bond measure, a tranche of $300 million, and we're particularly proud of that bond measure because it was third-party certified as a climate-friendly green bonds. So not only are we rebuilding the system, we're using people who invest in bonds and bonds that are non-carbon producers. So we're very happy about that we were able to attract, and it was oversubscribed. So the tranche could have been larger, but I think you all know the rules. They don't allow you to do larger tranches until you have work plans in place. So that was
What's a tranche?
So in a $3.5 billion bond, no agency, maybe the state, but not very many agencies are able to issue the $3.5 billion at once. So you break them up into parts. Each part is called a tranche in the finance industry. So we'll have about 10 or 11 tranches by the time this is fully when we're fully funded. So with the money to date, we've done about 10 miles of track replacement in downtown Oakland in order to adequately get these projects ready. We had to have new staff, so we've hired 55 key positions to work on the bond. We've completed 18 small business outreach events. We really want to be sure that the people of the Bay Area, the small businesses, moms and pops who are able to, can benefit from this funding so that it doesn't all go to huge corporations. It goes to smaller small businesses within our communities, both small businesses, women-owned, minority-owned, and very diversified group of subcontractors that we're looking for. And finally, we've established a bond oversight committee, which is my recollection, it's met at least once. I think they're going to meet again here shortly, or maybe they may have already met in January. So we have that in place. It's a diversified group of people from the industry, from the community, and they'll be ensuring that the money that was approved by the voters will be spent for the reasons that it was approved. So we're very happy. We're making good progress. We'll begin to see a lot more activity in 2019, getting the money, getting the staff, and identifying the projects that we actually want to accomplish. Took some time, but I think we'll start rolling out projects very quickly in the next 12 months or so. So I just wanted to give you an update, and I'll do it periodically as we reach important milestones, and I'll try not to use the word tranche again.
Well, I asked Commissioner Hudson, and he said he didn't know, so that's why I asked you, and then he said, I knew that, so that's why I get him.
Poor Karen.
Commissioner Worth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and may I add my congratulations to your service as chair of the authority. It's been such an honor to work with you over the years, and just so great to see you in that chair. And I just wanted to, I have a brief report as your ex officio representative to MTC. As you know, the commission voted to put on the ballot Regional Measure 3 at our last meeting preceding this one. And there are a number, as you know, a number of high priority projects and programs that are included in that expenditure plan. We've discussed those in the past, and the full plan is available on the MTC website with descriptions around both the programs and the projects. Second of all, as you know, we are engaged in this process of Senate Bill 1, SB 1 transportation projects. Funds are flowing to our local jurisdictions as well as regional funding, and one of the challenges that MTC has all the time is to sort of set out the high priority projects for the region, and our view being if we can set a list of priority projects that the region endorses, then we have a better chance of competing with Los Angeles for our warranted funds. So I just want to note, in the packet you have a copy, we have a copy of the letter that that our executive director wrote MTC in support of Contra Costa Transportation Authority's grant application for SB1 Local Partnership Program competitive funds for the I-680 State Route 4 interchange. So we talk about 20 years of waiting for federal to be chaired. Julie has been waiting at least 20 years for this project to be realized, but that's one of the high priority projects identified in SB1, and we look forward to being able to have that ongoing process of funding our high priority projects, whether it's through a regional measure or the state funds. And finally, I just wanted to say, as one of your commissioners, it was really an honor today to be able to attend the California Transportation Foundation meeting in Sacramento, and I know a number of you have gone over the years, but it was, of course, our executive director is front and center in those efforts. But what it made me realize, and it's appropriate that we have the Gomentum as well as our Smart Corridor presentations tonight, because you hear what's going on in the industry, and they are light years ahead. And we are part of that. And I think our county is farther ahead than most counties in the state because of the leadership of this organization and our executive director. But it was very exciting and staggering to hear about sort of the future as we look forward. So at least we all know how to use our smartphones, because that's going to be the center of the universe. But it was a great event, a lot of good discussions, and again, Randy did a tremendous job moderating a panel. It was a fascinating format of short comments by leaders in the tech field talking about various innovations, everything from drones to tracking transportation, all the things we do every day in this board and in our cities and counties, and how we can do it better using technology. So it really was a very uplifting program. So congratulations, and thank you for the honor of attending.
Any other? Supervisor Hudson.
Yeah,
Commissioner Hudson.
I knew the word is tranché. I think that's French for escalator at BART, but that's. On a more serious note, there are two things. When the state legislators passed cap and trade, part of the agreement was several $1 million going towards monitoring and hiring people to go out and inspect the refineries at all. The Air District will be hiring 20 to 30 people, and they went through where the outreach is. We've just gone through some classes. We had 9 employees on social equity, et cetera, and we're trying to reach out to different colleges. I had San Luis Obispo added to that college list, so they'll be going through Randy, a very stellar alumni for that college. And the Air District is setting up some of us to go to Japan in September for what I think is a very forward-thinking summit on the autonomous vehicle and mobility and some of the things we've been talking about here, including what we're doing on the 28th or 29th. I can't remember which date it is, or our summit. I think it would be very important that we send our world traveler out again. And so if you want, you can have Tom sign that's what I did, have the next person sign all the list. But these trips that he's taking, I never had a doubt in my mind that there wasn't value in any one of them, particularly Washington. I can't believe the way you're treated when you go back, as anybody here from County Connection, and how you're treated with the rock star when we go through security. It's happening so fast, I don't think we can afford to miss even a month or two. I mean, things are changing that quickly. So tell him to get his bags packed, send him on his way, and be ready to approve whatever it takes to get him there in coach.
Commissioner Butt.
I'd like to ask your all's help with something. You know the Richmond-Sanderfeld Bridge, it's on the outer fringes of your jurisdiction. But over the last couple of years, there have been improvements going on there. They've created a third eastbound lane to try to relieve traffic congestion over in Marin County. And as a part of that, the plan, which is already approved, funded, under construction, was to build a two-way bike lane in the third lane on the westbound part of the bridge. And it was a pilot project that was supposed to go on for 4 years. And, you know, all the deals were made and everything was done. And then our friends in Marin, who believe that it's actually their bridge, not our bridge, have started creating their own agenda for controlling what happens with that third lane. And, you know, they're people, the executive director of the Transportation Authority of Marin drafted a letter saying that CCTA had approved this. And fortunately, I think Randy went to the meeting and he corrected that right before they were prepared to endorse the letter. So the letter got fixed. And but it's still happening. You know, one of the county supervisors over there is telling the newspaper he's going to redesign the bridge. And I just heard that Assembly member Levine is circulating a letter. You know, so the bottom line is those folks in Marin think it's their bridge, and they're going to decide what's going to happen there. And they don't even have to talk to us about it. Us meaning Richmond, meaning Contra Costa, meaning CCTA, any of us. So if any of you see anything floating around, correspondence, whatever, or somebody starts talking about this, I would appreciate it if you would tell them that they should consult with their friends in Richmond and in Contra Costa County about their plans for our bridge. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me just also say that, as you know, the Northern Waterfront Economic Development Initiative is something that CCTA is really going to be a major contributor to that effort. I often talk about getting the hook, and I think we have the hook to really be able to do that job creation and economic growth within the county and the cities within the county because of the effort that's going on with Go Momentum and the fact that it's a major hook for technology emphasis that's been put out there. And so, Randy, we really want to thank you for the work that's been done there. Also, as we look at this initiative and go forward, just to let you know that the county has hired an economic development person at this time, and so we have someone that will be working closely with you all in terms of how we continue to create the type of energy that's going on right now. I think we'll reach our goals because of this hook that is out there today. So I look for a lot of business to start coming to the Northern Waterfront, as well as those economic development opportunities that this county so much deserves. So thanks for the effort that's going on there, and let me just tell you what a great contribution that this authority is making towards that. Okay, is anyone else willing to make comments? If not, Executive Director.
Thank you. Congratulations, Supervisor Glover, for ascending to be the chair. I look forward to a great relationship this year with all of you, actually, and if you quit giving me a bad time about my travel, I'd really appreciate it. I'm kidding. I'm joking. Thank you for approving every one of my travel allocations because you approved them all, so thank you. I want to mention the TRB, the Transportation Research Board annual meeting. 5 of us went to the Washington, D.C. 14,000 people attend that conference. And as I mentioned here, their theme was transportation moving the economy of the future. Sometimes we forget how valuable transportation is in relationship to the economy. And so that was very, very important. We were selected to represent local agencies on the U.S. DOT's panel of innovation. And to have there's thousands of local agencies they could have chosen, so we were one of the lucky ones. As far as job creation at Gomentum Station, Sumitomo Electric did come. They flew into San Francisco. Their vice chairman of Sumitomo came out to Gomentum. They don't normally fly into San Francisco and drive to Concord and hang out. They just go directly to Silicon Valley. And so we're trying to capture this incentive and talk about how valuable this area is as far as homes and things like that and the job environment. And so we're trying to do our part there. We are one of the finalists for the East Bay Economic Development Alliance for Catalyst of the Year. Hopefully we win that. Lindsay and I went to Oakland to film a short snippet with video cameras and doing all that. And we did an interview with San Francisco Business Times. They're interested in that as well. Leadership San Francisco, it's a training course that trains a number of folks that work and live in San Francisco to be the next generation of leaders. We were asked to participate on a panel talking about the next generation of technology and what they need to be prepared for as far as design, planning, and those types of things. And then we're also asked on the area of law to speak on a U.S. Or UCLA, the 32nd Annual Land Use, Law, and Planning Conference. Once again, we're trying to plan the future, and it's really kind of changing people's minds of how they develop their plans for the future, making sure they make the right investments in the future. So if you don't have to widen roadways in the future, you can take those dollars and maintain what you have. We always complain we don't have enough money in transportation, but if we're wasting it, we're not doing our taxpayers any favors there. And then the Contra Costa Health Services, so Lindsay and I traveled to Los Angeles to participate in this tech fire, which was taped and then played on C-SPAN for, 7 times. And this guy that works in Contra Costa, Dr. Troy Kaji, was down in L.A. visiting his family watching C-SPAN. He said, hey, that guy works in Contra Costa. So he came, and now we're trying to figure out exactly how we incorporate the Contra Costa County Health Services into this idea that we can make their systems operate better and more efficiently. And then we did give, Balfour's come along very, very nicely. The contract, we're trying to finish it, Ivan, sometime in November, I believe, is the schedule. End of the year, and so we're really pushing hard to get that contract completed. And then we were contacted, I think the county is trying to get into this notion of being a drone county, one of the test facilities out in the eastern part of Contra Costa. Well, the Northern Plains Unmanned Aircraft Systems in North Dakota is wanting to partner with us, at least at Gomentum Station, to try to figure out how we can use unmanned aerial services to help support our future. So there's a lot of things, not only on the ground that's going on at Gomentum, but most recently in the air, and so we're excited about those opportunities. And so the last thing I will say is we had a lot of accomplishments in 2017. That's included here. What's not included is we're making progress on this notion of progress on paperless, trying to get away from paper. And so Ivan and his team and others have gone in and deployed some technologies to make our inspection program and our record keeping paperless. And so we're excited about that. We didn't have that on here, but that was included as well this year. So thanks again for supporting us. As I mentioned to Commissioner Butt when he called me, kind of upset about whether or not I really did approve this notion of using a mixed third lane. I said, sir, we do not make policy. We go to the board and make policy. And so we have not come to you and asked you for your permission to say whether or not that was a third lane, was going to be cars, bicycles, or whatever. So we're silent on this until we come to the board. And so I think we have great synergy together in making sure that we're all moving forward with one voice. And I think that's important in transportation because sometimes you can get lost because it's very complicated. So unless there's any questions, thank you for giving me a bad time tonight. I appreciate it.
Mr. Chair, can I ask some questions? Yes. Randy, I'm glad you connected with our health services people, but what did this gentleman mean by what are they talking about? I've got John Cunningham here. Do you know anything about this? No. Pardon me?
So he was, autonomous vehicles are coming. He wanted to know how they could provide better services and integrate early with this notion of you could provide better services with cars that come and get the patients, because one of the problems with this, at least what he was saying, is there's a lot of no-shows. And when there's no-shows, then the doctor doesn't do anything during those time frames, and then later on they get all these call-ins, and then they push everybody back. And so they're trying to schedule more efficiently. They're trying to use technology.
Not your problem, but...
it's funny how, you're absolutely right.
Well, Mr. Glover sits on the Joint County Health Care. I have sat on CCHP. We just hired a new health services director, and I've never heard of this doctor. Not that he's not competent, but this is what happens. So I'm going to ask Anna Roth, who is our new health services director, to contact you so that you get to work with the top dog, so to speak, rather than somebody going, I mean, I think it's great to be innovative and all that. This is not a criticism of you, but this is the first federal and I are hearing about it, and that's one of the reasons. We're talking about a culture change at health services, and this is one of the things that needs to change. So I appreciate you bringing this to our attention, but he's got a perspective that some of us may not share. Not that we don't want autonomous vehicles, but to be honest, we're in contract negotiations now about patient panels, and so it's a little interesting. Thank you very much.
Okay. If that's all, we are adjourned. Thank you all for a very good first meeting.